as I sit atop a mountain pass overlooking the world, it's hard not to appreciate what I've accomplished on the Otso Fenrir Ti. It's been my workhorse over the last few months, enduring a few extended bike packing trips and of course some shorter gravel and single track rides. I pedaled the Fenrir Ti over 550 miles in countless hours, and these are my thoughts on the bike. Let's get into it. Before we jump into it, I just want to let everyone know that this video is partially supported by Terravel tires. What is Terravel's fastest gravel tire? Well, it's the Terravel Washburn, of course. The Washburn works for gravel racers or bike packers seeking speed, or really anyone who rides plenty of pavement on their gravel bike. Its slick center keeps rolling resistance low, but the transition tread keeps you planted in loose corners. The Washburn comes in light and supple and durable casings in a variety of 700 and 650B options. So for more on the Washburn, make sure to hit this card right here, or you can also find a link in the description below. So the Fenrir stainless steel launched in 2021, and Logan reviewed that flat bar version after riding it over 1,000 miles, and that can be found in the description below. Last year, Otso rolled out a titanium version of the Fenrir, which includes the same geometry, mounts, tuning chip, massive tire clearance, and flat and drop bar builds, making for a highly intriguing bike with a lot of versatility. The titanium version is undoubtedly a lot more coin. Still, you get what you pay for with a cycling-specific titanium tube set, which happens to be 94.5% titanium, 3% aluminum, and 2.5% vanadium. 33% lighter than their stainless steel version. All told, the large titanium frame set comes in at 916 grams, or roughly 2 pounds lighter than the steel version. All right, so you may be saying, look, another drop bar mountain bike, Neil. Well, actually, your eyes may be deceiving you here. So Otso sent me this medium Fenrir in the flat bar version, and I tested it in that orientation first. Otso wanted a bike optimized for drop bars and flat bars, and they accomplished this with a longer 415 millimeter reach. This is the longest reach I've actually experienced on this style of bike. However, it's still much shorter than, say, a hardtail mountain bike. All right, so for comparison's sake here, the medium pipe dream Alice, or ALICE, has a 390 millimeter reach, which is the largest reach on a drop bar mountain bike before I tested this thing. The medium Salsa Cycles Timberjack comes in at 453 millimeters. So while it's not so much hardtail level reach, it creeps into a category of its own. And while this was pretty transparent after the first ride, it also introduced a different obstacle with the fit. So because of the unique nature of the flat and drop bar geometry, it is a little tricky to figure out which size to go with and adjust to that fit. So I ended up going with their recommended medium sizing of 5'7" through 5'11", as I fall basically in the middle of that at 5'9.5", with equal torso to legs. After jumping on the medium flat bar bike, it was clear that I needed to make some adjustments. So I could have done several things to make the medium flat bar version work, such as lengthening the stem, but going to a 90 or maybe even 100 millimeter stem somewhat hurt my soul. So I concluded that a size large bike in the flat bar orientation would have worked best. I tested the medium flat bar for several rides before throwing a wide drop bar on the bike and shortening the 80 millimeter stem to a 70 millimeter stem. And after that, the fit improved significantly. So if I were to recommend sizing to the flat bar version, I would size up, especially if you fall in the middle or top end of their recommended sizing, or follow their recommended sizing if you are going with their drop bar version. So regarding standover, the medium had just enough clearance for me, 810 millimeters, which is just shy of 32 inches. I'll always take a tight standover for a larger triangle space any day. So the Fenrir also comes with a 68-degree head tube angle built around a 495 millimeter axle to crown. The included NV mountain fork comes set up with a 52 millimeter offset position, but allows you to run that 44 millimeter offset position with their built-in flip chip dropout. The bike is suspension corrected for a 100mm fork or roughly a 490mm axle to crown. So if you wanted to slacken the bike a little bit, you could throw, say, a 100 or 110mm RockShox SID or the like on there to accomplish that. The bike is also equipped with a 75-degree seat tube angle. That paired with a somewhat taller 623mm stack with that 415mm reach, kind of gives the Fenrir a very comfortable upright pedaling position for long day rides, yet with a longer front center and that overall wheelbase, this bike offers a lot of confidence when the riding trends downhill or just fast. All right, so speaking of wheelbase, the Otso's tuning chip, which is back here, allows you to adjust the chainstay, slightly changing the bike's overall geometry. The machined aluminum chip is reversible and can be installed in 2 fixed positions, all the way back, which gives you a 450mm chainstay, or all the way forward, which provides a 430mm chainstay. Otso also has a chip which you can purchase separately that allows you to mount the axle in the middle position, giving you a 440mm chainstay, and I found this to be my preferred position during my testing. You can also buy sliding inserts for even more versatility, allowing the bike to be set up single speed, or you could use it with an internally geared hub. I learned that each position offers definitely a distinct difference in riding after messing around with the tuning chip. I tested the chainstay in the rear position during the first half of my time on the bike, which gave it a solid, sure-footed feeling, especially while loaded. I then positioned it in the middle position, which made the bike a little bit more snappy with quicker acceleration while still maintaining plenty of stability. It's also worth mentioning that by adjusting the tuning chip, the bottom bracket height shifts upward 4mm and that head tube angle changes by 0.2 degrees. So just for reference here, that cutthroat comes with a 445mm chainstay and has a 1090mm wheelbase. So the Fenrir wheelbase starts at 1130 and can be extended all the way up to 1150mm. All right, so Otso designed the Fenrir with massive tire clearance in mind. And while I never tried 3-inch tires on this bike, I did test 29 by 2.6-inch Vittoria mezcals in the middle and rear position, and it worked great. So I even nearly eked out 2.4-inch Maxxis Aspen in the short 430mm position, but it was just a little too close for comfort. Otso does state that it does fit 29 by 2.3-inch tires in the front position. And if you want to go with some skinnies, the 68 to 70mm bottom bracket drop will make it feel similar to a gravel bike. That middle position with 2.6-inch Vittoria mezcals was the sweet spot for me, and if I'm honest, any claimed bikepacking bike should at least have clearance for 29 by 2.6-inch tires. The only downside is that the bike is only compatible with a 1x drivetrain as a result. All right, so the Boost Space bike has full external routing, including the NV fork. However, it does have internal dropper routing, which I wish I had actually tested on this bike, but I didn't, as it did not come with one, and I don't own a 31.6mm dropper. That diameter definitely seems a little overkill for this type of bike, but I assume it has to do with some limitations or lack of availability of different titanium tube sets. I found myself holding back on descents with a rigid post, so I definitely recommend the Wolftooth Resolve upgrade over any other upgrade on the bike. All right, so the bike has a 73mm threaded bottom bracket, and this particular rig comes with post mount brakes, which I love. However, Wolftooth has a bunch of cool accessories that make this bike more adaptable, including their flat mount tuning chip if you really want to build it up with flat mount brakes. All right, so speaking of, Fenrir has loads of provisions for bikepackers in mind, including a set of 2 and 4-pack mounts inside the frame, 3-pack mounts on the underneath side of the down tube, and rear rack and fender mounts. Otso even offers tuning chips with threaded rack mounts, which is pretty neat. The front triangle space is also very large, providing plenty of capacity. Plus, the protruding head badge here that you see offers some nice protection from rubbing if you have a handlebar system that tends to rub. I'm always a big fan of actual head badges now, not built-in ones. This is why. All right, so I'm only going to dive into components just a little bit, as this bike can come in various ways, which can be found on their website. So the bike had an XT driver, race face, affect cranks, and bottom bracket. And so to make the relatively cheap conversion to drop bars, I ended up keeping those bits on, but replacing the flat bar and flat bar controls with a micro shift bar end shifter, and I threw on a set of TRP RR SR levers that a friend loaned me with Avid BB7 road calipers. I was thrilled with this setup and especially happy with how it performed for the cost and ease of swapping. I'm going to do a separate video on all of this, so stay tuned for that. So the bike also came with the Industry 9 1x1 Trail S wheel set, an upgraded wheel set from the stock Sunringle set that comes with the bike normally. I enjoyed the i9 offering as it comes with 90 points of engagement, plus they're plenty stiff and very durable. Finally, what's an Otso bike without Wolftooth components? Their sister company. You can choose from various bolt, headset, and spacer colors, and you can pick from 3 different flat bar grips if you opt for that flat bar version. So you can also choose what stem and stem length that you want and what size and type of chainring you want. I decided on a 32-tooth oval chainring, which was perfect for me. Overall, there's a lot of logical and fun customization that you can do. All right, so despite the versatility of the Fenrir, I'll be the first to tell you that I definitely preferred the drop bar orientation over the flat bar orientation, which is somewhat backwards, as I find myself using flat bars over drop bars most of the time. Much of this was due to the fit and feel I mentioned earlier. The flat bar bike kind of gave me some serious early 2000s hardtail mountain bike vibes, which actually, for what it's worth, is what Otso was going with this geometry, but not something that I'm really looking for in a flat bar bike in 2023. However, this geometry translates really well to a drop bar mountain bike. Paired with some pretty wide drop bars, it offered an ideal setup for this unique style of bike. I pedaled the bike from the spring into midsummer this season, from the Moab Desert to 12,000-foot mountain passes in Colorado, and endured soul-crushing sandy washes to teeth-chattering forest service roads. Yet it managed to be at home through all of it. Otso designed a comfortable bike for all-day rides, and it set me up well for more aggressive climbs and descents, and even some single track. An excellent example of this was Tin Cup Pass. The rough and chunky climb didn't deter the bike from staying planted, allowing me to continue pedaling through the chunder. After we started trending downhill, it held its own, and the overall length and ability to run 2.6-inch tires allowed the bike to remain grounded and offered enough cushion, even allowing a little playfulness on the descents. So because of that long front end, rolling the bike over from side to side does take a touch more time, as it positions the rider's weight back a hint from other bikes in its category. So it's not, I'd say, as agile as some other drop bar mountain bike counterparts. From time to time, I would get passed by some friends on hardtails with suspension forks, but paired with the 99mm trail with 2.6-inch tires and that longer wheelbase, it chewed through technical climbs and remained planted on rough descents, despite having a rigid fork. Most of my testing was on a loaded rig, and the bike felt very alive when loaded. I think Otso accomplished this with the combination of engineering and tube set choice. It allowed for a snappy yet very comfortable ride. Still, when I stripped the bags, the light nature of the frame set allowed the bike to race forward with each pedal stroke. While it may not be as fast as the Cutthroat, I was pleasantly surprised by its quickness and comfort. Overall, I think the Fenrir Ti is a fantastic bike for those who are looking for a bike that can do a number of things. If you want it to be a dedicated gravel bike, it can do that. If you want it to be a long and loaded down drop bar rig, it's fantastic. Flat bar style old school mountain bike, you know it. With the adaptability of this bike and maybe a little willingness to tinker from the owner, the Fenrir can be what you want it to be. It's a beautiful titanium frame that offers the spunk I like out of a bike without being too harsh. And after riding it for 6 months, it's really going to be hard not to have it in the stable. The Otso Fenrir Ti is available as a frame for $3,550 USD, which includes a headset, seat post clamp, brake mounts, and tuning chip hardware. For $4,050 USD, you can add the Envy mountain fork, and the complete builds start at $5,120 USD. So, the Otso Fenrir Ti. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comment section below. So these reviews obviously take a long time. So if you like what you saw in this video and want to see more like it, please hit that subscribe button and notification bell. And consider joining the Bikepacking Collective. Support from our members sustains this channel and really everything we do at BIKEPACKING.com. The collective has a lot of perks, including the twice annual Bikepacking Journal. So for more details, you can click on the card in the top right corner or also find a link in the description below. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, paddle further.